Tesla bets big on China with plans to build a new factory in Shanghai to produce thousands of lithium batteries. And Paw Patrol. We meet the professionals quitting the 9 to 5 to walk dogs, and they're earning more than ever before. You will want to stay tuned for the story about dog walking, I promise you. This is World Business Report. I'm Ben Thompson. Now, we start with news that the electric car giant Tesla has announced plans to build a new huge factory in Shanghai. It will make thousands of lithium battery packs every year. Now, China is the world's largest car market, and whilst Tesla generates most of its money from electric cars, boss Elon Musk has committed to grow its solar energy and battery business to roughly the same size. Here's Mariko with the details from Singapore.
It is quite a big deal because, of course, Tesla already has that huge plant in Shanghai to make electric cars. So it's basically increasing its investment in China. But the fact that this announcement came when tensions between Washington and Beijing are quite high, that's quite interesting. As you said, this is a mega factory to produce mega packs. They're basically very large batteries that can store energy so that they can help stabilize the power grid and also prevent outages. Now, of course, many of our viewers associate Tesla with those electric cars, and that is where the company generates most of its money from. But the company's boss, Elon Musk, is very keen to also grow its solar energy and battery business to roughly the same size, partly because the world is, of course, shifting to use more renewable energy. Now, Tesla already has a mega factory in California that can produce 10,000 megapacks units each year. And according to Mr. Musk's tweet, this new plant in China will supplement output from the factory in California. But of course, it'll also allow Tesla to take advantage of China's battery supply chain at lower costs as well. Now, the company plans to start building the factory, as you said, later this year, and they hope it'll be up and running by early next year. But what we can't figure out is whether Mr. Musk was in China to sign this deal, because there were reports that he will be in China from Saturday, but we've actually not seen any pictures of him being in China. So that's something that we can't figure out just yet. But of course, this announcement still a very big deal for him and his company.
Marika Oy with the details there from Singapore. Now, as business gets back on track after the pandemic, some industries are still facing some tough challenges. One of those, of course, is the travel industry. It's still struggling to recruit the staff that it needs more than a year after the end of the pandemic. Well, our reporter Peter Ruddick has been to the Lake District in the UK to look at what recruitment problems mean day to day and whether there are any immediate solutions.
These hands started at the deck this morning at 6:30 in here, but there was already an hour ahead of that doing menus for today. So Easter holidays, fun, fun, fun.
At Plant by Cat's Kitchen in Keswick, the owner has given more than just her name to the business. Staff shortages mean Cat's having to fill many of the restaurant roles herself.
We have nobody available to work this evening. It has got worse, there's no question. It has 100% got worse. We've always paid above minimum wage. We've offered apprenticeships. We've offered alternate weekends off, so fewer weekends working. We've offered for me to do the chefing on evenings so that they can have evenings off. We're still not even getting any candidates apply.
Not even any candidates?
No, not even any candidates.
On a beautiful and busy Easter weekend, Cat's is a familiar story. Nationally, there are more than 140,000 vacancies in hotels and restaurants like Cat's. But the issue is particularly challenging here in the Lakes, where there are problems with affordable housing and public transport. It means operators are having to come up with pretty innovative solutions.
We've got a blend of accommodation in the hotel for stuff.
On the south shores of Windermere, it isn't just tourists spending the night in the Lakeside Hotel.
We've had to be creative. We're fortunate here in that we do have some living accommodation, some here at the hotel and other accommodation in the local town. So we have an advantage. We actually provide transport ourselves to bring people from Barrow-in-Furness, Ulverston, Dalton. We have 3 minibuses. They're constantly backwards and forwards, so from 7 o'clock in the morning right through until midnight. The cost annually for that to us as a business is somewhere around £120,000.
The hospitality industry is calling for short-term immigration reforms to allow businesses to fill roles from overseas. However, the government wants employers to invest in making jobs more attractive to the domestic workforce.
We looked at our complete package with rewards and benefits and introduced 50% discounts. We have long service awards, we have appreciation awards, we have staff parties.
So that's all in the short term. What about the long term, keeping people in the company?
Well, that's where our development programmes come in. And rather than spending a lot of money on entry level, we will train our teams up so that we've got the tools to develop a career in our industry.
For Maria's hotel group, that focus is paying off.
It wasn't my initial career choice. I wanted to be into information technology kind of thing. I ended up moving into catering, and I'm glad I did, because it's changed my sort of health and aspects in life. And now I've got a career, I can look forward to.
What works for the biggest businesses, though, is not an option for everyone.
We were able to take on an intern, but she came from Sweden, from a chef school in Sweden, and she came and lived in our house. That was the only way we could get somebody. We were approached by the same people again to do it this year, and we just can't find anything, and we can't have somebody living in our home, we've realised.
For now, Kat cooks on. But without more cost-effective short-term solutions, staffing for small businesses like hers remains as difficult to predict as the Great British weather. Peter Ruddick, BBC News, Keswick.
Yeah, the travel industry, just one of many still struggling to get back up to speed after that pandemic. Of course, hospitality, another that faces so many challenges right now. Let's bring you up to date with some of today's other business stories. ByteDance, which owns TikTok, has announced record profits of $25 billion for 2022. ByteDance is currently the world's most valuable private company, and its earnings were boosted by greater advertising on TikTok, despite the social media app currently being under pressure around the world over security concerns. Airbnb hosts in Liverpool in the UK are being warned not to try to hike prices on stays that are already booked ahead of the Eurovision Song Contest that takes place there. Airbnb said it had zero tolerance for this kind of behaviour and was now taking action to stop hosts cancelling bookings and then relisting them at a higher price. Liverpool is expecting an extra 150,000 visitors during the Eurovision Song Contest. And Apple has been hurt badly by a sharp fall in global shipments of computers in the first quarter of 2023. It is a fall of 29%. Apple says it's seeing a much bigger 40% contraction overall. It has been caused by weak macroeconomic climate, leading to excess inventories, basically too much stock, and a fall in demand. And the pay packets for the UK's top corporate bosses swelled by 12% last year. The typical pay for a FTSE 100 boss rose to £4.15 million. That's well over $5 million. The information comes from a new Deloitte review of 55 companies. Deloitte also found that companies are offering boss raises this year at levels much lower than that of their workforces. Not bad work, if you can get it clearly. Now, talking about work, have you ever wondered how dog walkers can make ends meet? The average walker makes under $50,000 a year. Not bad, you might say, but a growing number have found a way to make it pay over $100,000. How? Well, Michelle Fleury has been to meet some of them.
My pup, Willie, is what led us there. He's the pup who started it all.
Michael Josephs is the owner of Parkside Pups, a dog walking service.
It was a side hustle that naturally started to pick up more, and I was having so much fun with it and meeting the people and helping out the pups.
Today, he makes more money walking dogs than he did as a special needs teacher in downtown Manhattan.
They're probably going right into the water. Annually, we're over six figures this year. Over the last 2 years, we've grown 250%.
And there's no shortage of customers. Part of that has to do with all those pandemic puppies. Michael says with work from home winding down, more pet owners are calling him.
I have so many puppies that I've picked up in the last year, which has really helped the company grow.
Demand for dog walkers has skyrocketed. This year alone, the dog walking business in America is expected to grow 3%. And it's already worth an estimated $1 billion.
Well, on, let's go, kid.
But could a cooling economy change that?
I think we are recession-proof.
Nick Rodriguez was a New York City doorman before starting Doors and Dogs almost 10 years ago.
Baby girl, come on. We service and operate in the most affluent neighborhoods in New York. These are typically the people who get the bailouts or people who work in the industries that are rarely affected by economic turmoil.
Despite the recent banking turmoil and higher interest rates, he's confident that poop pays.
You love your dog like your child. So because you love your dog like your child, because you may be inclined to even work more, we're still a necessity in these animals' lives.
For these two, dog walking isn't just a walk in the park. It's a lucrative business, even if the clientele can sometimes be a handful. Michelle Fleury, BBC News, New York.
I love everything about that story. Now, twins aren't that common, are they? But twins who are in business partners as well, well, even rarer still. We've been catching up with two Dutch sisters who've started a drinks business in the UK. They reckon that twins make for a powerful combination in business. Take a look.
Doing business as twins is a very powerful thing. I think it's such a great thing to have your sister as a co-founder because your highs are so much higher and the lows are so much less low. Because if somebody is a bit down or stressed at work, then the other one is always the optimistic one, and there's always one that has the glass a bit more fuller. We have a really special emotional bond, which makes working together very easy and very efficient. For example, in meetings, we know each other inside out, so we kind of know what we're thinking. Even as little kids, we always dreamt and talked about having our own business together with the two of us, and I couldn't be more gladder, and our parents couldn't be more proud that we actually did so.
You're up to date. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.